Hey, SBC 205. Vic McInnes again. Real quick, this is not a lecture. I just finished looking through, watching all your 2-minute speeches, so I want to give you some feedback before I get started inputting it into Blackboard. This is usually my habit. What I will do is after there's a speech, I will come back and I will give you guys some feedback on how it went, just sort of broad brush. The things I'll be talking about here are things that I saw more than a couple of people do, so it means I need to address it formally with you guys. Um, but again, you'll get feedback to me tomorrow, and I'll explain that at the end through Blackboard on the Grade Center. First of all, overall, really good. I was very impressed. Of all the speeches, there wasn't anybody who was like, made me go, okay. Everybody was in the ballpark. I think we're talking about just refining. So when you see those comments on the Grade Center tomorrow, take them as for positive, constructive criticism. I don't do a whole lot of hey, good jobs, because since most of you are doing a good job, that would just be repetitive and wouldn't mean anything. So I'll be giving you tips through Blackboard that you'll be able to pick up. Okay, so overall, very well pleased. For almost everyone, feet were placed really well. Usually with this speech, and it may be because you're not doing it in front of, this is an online class and you're doing it on tape, not in front of people. You usually have people that, a lot of feet behind the others. I mean, you guys planted it for the most part. The vast majority of you planted your feet, side by side, shoulder width apart. That went really well. Overall, physical delivery was pretty good. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on, though. So first, let me talk about the videos you actually submitted and some of the things there, because no, this is not a video class, and I try to keep it at a minimum, but I have to be able to grade your speeches. Okay, so I'm going to start with talking about the videos, and I'm going to then I'll go to delivery, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, first thing about the videos. The audio quality is on you. It's not on me, okay? I cannot say, oh, well, I couldn't hear them, but I think they gave us a good conclusion. Okay, if I can't hear you, it will not be, I can't consider it part of the speech. I had a couple of people that had no audio at the beginning of the speech. One went 30 seconds in, and the other one went about 15 seconds in before I could hear anything. That to me is an indicator that maybe those people didn't listen back to view their tapes. I'm going to strongly recommend you do that. Okay. So if you submit a tape and you have no audio, or I can't hear you for the first 20, 30 seconds, you're going to miss your attention device. You're going to miss your statement of purpose. You're going to miss most of your introduction. Okay, so that I need you to be aware of. Second thing you also need to be aware of is some people had some sound that was cutting in and out. I couldn't tell if that was because there was some sort of filter going on, but please be aware of that. You have got to give me good quality. I have got to be able to hear you. The other problem with that was people had background noise. One was a ceiling fan, another one sounded like a lawnmower. Again, if I can't hear it, I can't grade it, and you'll get a 0 for whatever it is you did there. Okay? All right, something that I did, again, this haven't done online classes all that much. Happened last semester for the speeches I did online after we cleared campus. Had it happen a couple of times today. No cuts. This has got to be one straight shot. I know when there's cuts. Don't think you can slip it in. It can't be done. Okay? If you cut, I'm going to see it. So you have to turn the camera on, give your speech, then turn the camera off. Do not try to do any cuts. If you do a cut, I'll be putting out, I haven't put a policy out, but if you do a cut in your speech, I am going to take 20% of the grade off from now on. Okay, there'll be a Blackboard announcement coming out about that, separate from everything else tomorrow. Okay, so that's going to cost you 20%. All right, so no cuts. All right, so let's talk about framing and how you look in the frame. Okay, so this is what I need. Okay, everybody can see this. Pretend this pad is the frame of your video from your camera or from whatever you're doing. Okay, you are visible, and first of all, don't send me your compliments on my artwork. I know how good it is. Don't clutter up my email. Okay, all right, this is you, head to toe, easy to see. You're filling the frame. Okay, you go almost all the way to the top of the frame. and then your feet are really close to the bottom of the frame. That's great. What is not great is this, okay? Had a lot of people apparently turn the camera on and sprint to the farthest point of the room that the camera was in, okay? This is not good because I can't see where you're making eye contact. I can't see what you're, there's so many things I can't see when it's done like this, okay? So this is what I'm looking for. This is a problem. Go back and look at your videos and you should be able to figure out which category you fell into, okay? All right, so delivery. I want you to go back, first of all, tomorrow. I use the Grade Center because it allows me to put quick contents. Everybody that did a speech will get comments tomorrow. Everybody that does a speech will get comments throughout, okay? Things I saw, and if you go back and look, I bet you'll see what I'm talking about. But listen, so let me tell you a couple of things that I'm looking for, phrases you may see, because I really take quick notes. I got a lot of things to watch. I got to watch you. I got to take notes. So I really wind up using 2 or 3 word phrases. So one a lot of you are going to see is separate hands. A lot of you are doing this or doing that, or you're gripping the cards with both hands. We need to stop that, okay? You can't gesture like that, all right? So you'll see separate hands. You should never, ever do this or that while you're giving a public speech, okay? These are key classic defensive measures, okay? So separate your hands, get your hands apart. For gestures, a lot of you are going to see gestures too low. And what that means is, and let me see if I can stand up here and show you this. No, can't do it. Okay, so you just have to take my word for it. Go back and look at the video I did for nonverbal delivery. You're just sort of flicking your hand down by your thigh, below the waist. All gestures should be chest high, okay? Not down. If you're doing them down by your waist, you're not going to get credit for gestures. They should be chest high or they don't count. Anything you do, and there's been tons of studies that gestures that are just you moving your hands around by your waist don't have any impact on the audience. So remember, gestures have to be chest high. Some of you are going to see focus your gestures. And what that means is you were just moving your hands around all the time and you weren't really using your hand movements to do anything specifically. It's just your hands were constantly going. And remember, every movement and it should be deliberate. Your nonverbal delivery should be deliberate. And if you're just constantly moving your hands, you have no idea what you're trying to emphasize. Wow, my arms hurt now. Okay, so gestures should be deliberate. Okay, and then some of you will see gestures should be more fluent. And I sometimes say fluent. I sometimes say fluid. A couple of you guys, the gestures were, I will be giving you 3 main ideas, okay? And that's the only time you gesture. Go back and watch yourself and watch that video and see if you're comfortable with how your hands move, okay? And just be aware of that. All right, vocal rates. Couple of you guys, man, you were talking very, very fast. So number one, that's a bad idea almost all the time. It doesn't allow you to use vocal emphasis and vocal variety. But in this, let's face it, some of us are gonna, don't have brand new iPhone whatevers or Samsung Galaxy 47s or whatever it is. The microphone you may be talking into may not be the best in the world. Okay, so you have to slow your vocal rate so that you can speak clearly and be heard clearly. A couple of you also got into articulation problems where you were talking so fast, you became more inarticulate as time wore on. Just be aware of that. Okay, notes. Many of you tried to get away without using notes, and for this speech, that's going to be one thing, and that's fine. It was an ungraded assignment anyway. Some of you tried to write your entire speeches out. A couple of y'all were not. Again, the requirement for this speech was 4x6 note cards, no bigger. Several of you had full 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. That will lose you 10 points or 10% in future if you use anything other than 2 4x6 cards. Several of you had more than 2, and I can tell. Okay, So please be aware of that for this next speech or your ceremonial speech. You won't have to worry about that, but in the future you will. Again, you'll get a lecture tomorrow on methods of presentations. We do not read speeches in this class. You can read a manuscript for this next one, the ceremonial speech, but for the informative, the problem solution, and the persuasive speech, you are going to need to be able to deliver your speech without reading it. And if you're standing there and, okay, just let me put it this way. If you think you're going to post cue cards out of frame and you think I'm not going to be able to see that you're reading your speech, I saw every one of you that did that. Okay? In some cases, in a couple of cases, you could see the computer screen reflected in the person's glasses. All right? So don't do that. It will cost you when we start scoring points for speeches. Okay? You'll see a lot of y'all are going to see relax your elbows. And again, go back and watch that lecture on nonverbal delivery about what you should do with your arms. And again, I talked about relaxing elbows then. Then I've already talked about clasping hands and don't read. Okay. Yeah. Overall, I think that's it. Again, these are improvements. These are not, hey, listen, you got a problem. These are improvements. I didn't see anybody. So here's the next thing I'm going to tell you that you really need to focus on as we start into graded speeches. I'm telling you how to get an A in this class. If you do what I tell you and follow the instructions I have given you, you will get an A on every speech you give. I am not looking for somebody who's going to be a fantastic speaker that's going to get out of the box and going to deliver things that are absolutely phenomenal. I am looking for somebody who can follow the program and follow the steps that I give you. Because again, public speaking is a skill, and you need to learn the mechanics of the skill. You may have known somebody in high school who was taking math, and they just were one of those people that could look at an equation and just come to the solution, and yet they still failed because they didn't show their work. Okay? Show your work in this class. Follow the steps. Do what I tell you, and you're going to be fine. Okay? The other thing I'm going to do is go back and watch your speeches before you submit them. Okay? Oh, yeah, last thing. A couple of you submitted your speeches at 11:59. If it comes in at 12:01 for a graded speech, you're going to get a 0. So please be aware of that as well. Okay, that's it today. A little stormy. Everybody, I hope, is being careful, staying well. I will be dropping another lecture tomorrow, a formal lecture on, I'm not sure what it is. Oh, yeah, audience analysis and methods of delivery. So, okay, we will see you. Stay well. We'll see you soon.